Welcome back to Introduction to Formal Logic. We are going to be using truth tables to compare and then also evaluate multiple sentences. This is going to be a shorter lesson than some of the others, but it's going to be really important. All right, so we'll take it step by step. Let's see what we have in store, what the outcomes are. So again, for this lesson, I'm going to assume here that you know the truth tables for the 5 operators cold, that's in your head. At this point, really, you shouldn't even have to refer to something on a piece of paper. You really should have that memorized. It's okay if you're almost there, but really, we're going to be assuming that information going forward. It's going to be a lot easier for you if you have the operator truth tables just memorized in your head and the way that the truth values calculate within those truth table operators. All right, so that's the assumption in this lesson going forward. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to use those truth tables and functions of the operators that you already know to compare and evaluate multiple sentences. I'll show you exactly what we mean. Again, we're just sort of categorizing language here, right? We did that with the conditional when we called one part an antecedent and a consequent. We're going to be doing that sort of thing when we label different evaluations, when we compare multiple sentences to each other. All right, I'll show you what we mean. So look at the truth table here on this slide. So remember that when we look at the sentence right there, right on the right-hand side of this truth table, we see that under the main operator there, the or, that some of the rows are true and then some of the rows are false. All right. So you can see how the truth table, was calculated from the atomic sentences, just like you learned in the past. And now we're going to be focusing on what are the truth values under that main operator, or what can that tell us? You'll see. When there is a mix of true and false rows under the main operator, just like you see there, we call those sentences contingent sentences. When all the rows are true, right, that's not the case here, but if all the rows were true, when that happens, we call a sentence a tautology. And when all the rows are false, then we call that sentence self-contradictory. All right, so remember those terms because those terms are going to apply to a single sentence. All right, remember the sentence that you see there under the main operator, it has a mix of true truth values and false truth values. All right, and so that's going to be a contingent sentence. That's what we mean. So that's all just review so far. But we can also compare and evaluate all the possible truth values of multiple sentences. One sentence to another sentence and so on. All right, so let's see how that works. Let's compare a couple sentences below. There you see there on the truth table. And again, I'm going to assume that you can fully, competently, completely construct and interpret a truth table at this point. All right, so that's what I'm going to be assuming. So what you see there, that shouldn't be much of a mystery. So what we do want to do that's new here is, again, use some evaluations for multiple sentences. So look at the truth values in each row under each sentence. What you notice there is that they are the opposite truth value from each other in every row. You see the first row, the if P then Q truth value is true, and the P and not Q value is false. In the second row, we have false and the other is true. In the third row, we have true and the other is false. In the fourth row, last row, we have true and the other is false again. All right, they are the opposite of each other in every row. And when two sentences have the opposite truth values as each other for each possibility, for all the possibilities or rows, when we represent them by truth tables, then those sentences are going to be contradictory to each other. All right, those two sentences, that's what we're evaluating here, is multiple sentences. When that happens, we're going to say that those two sentences are contradictory. All right, and you can see that pretty easily. Again, this is why truth tables are helpful. So remember, you're going to want to remember that contradictory, that categorization of multiple sentences, it's an evaluation of 2 or more sentences. While another category that sounds like it but is different, that's self-contradictory. And self-contradictory It's pretty easy to remember, right? It just applies to one sentence. It's self-contradictory, one sentence, all right? So just make sure that you don't confuse those categories. When evaluating multiple sentences, we say that they are contradictory to each other. When we're just looking at one sentence, we can say, if the conditions are right, that it's self-contradictory, all right? Let's take a look at a couple more. So let's think a little bit more about what we can sort of extrapolate from the information that we've received so far. Like here's a question, what operator involves matching truth values? We looked at 5 different operators. What operator involves matching truth values? Should know this by now. It's the biconditional, remember. That involves matching truth values. When the truth values match, biconditional sentence is true. So because we know that contradictory sentences that are contradictory to each other, just like the way that you see there as an example, contradictory sentences will have different truth values for every possibility in each row. We can connect the 2 contradictory sentences together like the following. There you see, those are the sentences right there in the truth table, right? The left-hand side of the biconditional is that first compound sentence, and the right-hand side of the biconditional is that second compound sentence. So left-hand side, I'll read it. Let's translate it. If P, then Q, if and only if, P and not Q. That sentence, right? That's how we translate that. And we know that that sentence is self-contradictory. The 2 sides of the biconditional, in this case, are always going to have mismatching truth values. You see that there in the truth table, right? So again, pointing out, look at the truth table there, and you'll see in each row, the truth values are not going to match. So if we put those 2 on either side of a biconditional, it's always going to be a self-contradictory biconditional sentence, right? So the biconditional that has both of those sentences as parts will have only false truth values for every possibility. And that's our definition of self-contradictory. All right, so there's another procedure that we can do to connect some of what we already learned in terms of self-contradictory and the biconditional and connect it with what we see here in that truth table. Now let's try comparing different sentences. All right, so look at the truth table below right there. Different sentences than we tried before. So neither sentence, if you notice, it's easy to see, neither sentence is a tautology on its own. And neither sentence is self-contradictory on its own, right? Remember that a tautology, that's a category that applies to one sentence. Self-contradictory, that's a category that applies to one sentence as well. And each of those individual sentences there don't fall under that category, right? So remember, you want to have those categories in the conditions form, tautology, self-contradictory, and contingent. You want to have those cold in your head so far, right? But I'll keep going over those just so that we're on the same page. So you'll notice that neither of those are a tautology or self-contradictory. But when we compare the 2 rows of truth values there, what do you notice? What sort of pattern do you notice? It's pretty easy to see. All right, so if you look at the truth table and you look at each row, what's the pattern there? Well, you notice that for both of those sentences, for each row, they are always the same as each other for all the possibilities. All right, in the first row, they're both true. Second row, both false. Then both true. Then both true. And when 2 sentences have all the same truth values as each other for every possibility, or in truth tables as that's represented by rows, they're called logically equivalent. And you may remember from a previous lesson that I talked about equivalency, and I said, we'll get to what we mean by equivalency later. Here we are. Those sentences are going to be logically equivalent because they have the same truth values for every possibility that exists, represented there by that truth table. All right, that's how that works for logical equivalence in our propositional logic language. And so for the opposite reasons as we saw for the previously compared sentences, The single sentence, when we combine those two and put a biconditional between them, just like here, I'll translate it. If P, then Q, if and only if not Q, then not P. It's very awkward. That's how you translate it. And we're not going to go around saying that in English, but that's the translation that we'll go with. All right, so that sentence, right? When you put a biconditional between those two sentences that we see, well, it's easier to see now. They're going to always be true. So that sentence, that single sentence that we can create, putting a biconditional between those two sentences, that biconditional sentence now that we just made, it's always going to be true because the truth values on both sides of the biconditional will always match. And you can see why that's the case using the truth table there. All right, so again, that's another logical connection that we make by looking at logically equivalent sentences. And when we put a biconditional between those two, we know that's going to be a tautology. It's always going to be true because those truth values match. All right, so hopefully at this point you see how important it is to obviously have the truth values, the truth table for all the operators down, especially the biconditional, the conditions for when it's true and when it's false, because we just keep on using it and building it and making more connections. All right, so equivalence, what you need to remember is equivalence in logic is going to mean that two or more, possibly if we're looking at more sentences, but two or more sentences have all the same truth values for every possibility, or when we're looking at truth tables, every row, which represents every possibility. Just like equivalence in math means that two expressions have the same value, right? Just like 2 plus 2 is the same thing as 4, or is equal to 4 is equal to 3 plus 1. Those all have the same value. That's sort of what we're trying to get at with logical equivalence, all right? They have the same truth value in every possibility, represented by rows when we're talking about truth tables. So later on, we're going to learn a few equivalence rules. We'll get to that later. When we get to proofs, we're going to learn what's called equivalence rules, all right? If you see one sentence in an argument, you can then infer its logical equivalence. And why can you do that? Because you know if one is true, then the other will always be true too. All right, so just a flag that we will come back to this very idea of logical equivalence later, and we're going to assume it when we get to proofs. That's later on, but this is going to be important. So the sentences in the table here, that they're an example of an actual equivalence rule that we will learn later. All right, so we'll get to that later, but I just want to pause here and say we're going to build on the ideas that we use here. All right, this is going to be one equivalence rule. So if you're anticipating what we're going to be doing later with proofs, this is going to come up again. All right, so a couple more categories that we have to get under our belt before we move on. So again, look at this truth table. All right, this is going to be different from the previous two. These two sentences are consistent. That's another category that we want to talk about. All right. So, and remember, consistency is a category that applies to more than one sentence, not just one sentence. All right. So it may seem obvious, all right, but want to really restate that one sentence is consistent with another sentence. All right. So those two sentences there are going to be consistent. And why? Well, because they have at least one possibility or row represented here where their truth values are both true. That's all you need for consistency. You see there, which row is that? Or rows, really. We see the first row there and the third. And so those two sentences are what we call consistent. So two or more sentences are inconsistent when there are no possibilities or rows where they both have truth values. All right, so if you're looking at a couple sentences and you make a truth table out of it and you see there that there's no row where they both have truth values in the same row, those sentences are going to be what we call inconsistent. All right, so there's a couple more categories that we want to use when we're comparing and evaluating multiple sentences. So as an exercise, see if you can come up with two logical sentences, right? They can be as complex or as simple as you want, that are inconsistent, and then try to test your answer with a truth table, right? So there's an exercise for you. See if you can do that. Really what I want to emphasize here is remember the conditions for two sentences being consistent and likewise for two sentences being inconsistent. All right, so we learned a lot of categories here that we can apply to multiple sentences and evaluate them, see if they fulfill any categories that we've learned so far.